Hello, this is Dr. Janice, our love, and welcome to my YouTube channel. How do you practice self care? Are you one who makes sure you get a massage or that you take a vacation or get your hair or nails done? Well, we're going to learn tonight about soul care and why we should practice soul care over self care so that we can truly strengthen our minds and bodies beyond the surface. So stay tuned as we meet with Kamilah Thomas about soul care over self care. Stay tuned. Kamilah. So, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Dr. Love. Thank you so much for having me here tonight.
Yes, but I didn't even I got so messed up behind calling you the wrong name. I didn't even really say that you are a seasoned licensed psychotherapist, a clinical supervisor, you're a coach, you're a speaker, and you're an entrepreneur that has over 15 years of extensive clinical and managerial experience. You graduated from the University of Houston. You live in Houston. You have a master's in social work, and you are the founder of KBT Counseling and Consulting, and you are have your own very own private practice. You do speaking engagements, coaching programs, a wealth of things, but we are really here to find out all about this soul care that you're talking about. So before we get into that, just tell me how you ended up in mental health and wellness.
Oh, goodness. Honestly, if I have to think about high school, I was just that friend people would come to when people are having questions, when they were having problems in our teenage lives. They just said, you know what, Kamilah, you're really good at listening. You're really good at giving advice. I
Mhm.
feel like I can talk to you. So I think that's how it started. And then the Lord had his own plan on where he was going to take my career. And so here we are almost 20 years later.
Oh, wow. So, our topic tonight is soul care over self care. Now, I am just really excited to hear what the difference is because, I've been trying to do all this self care, but nobody ever said anything about soul care. So, first of all, tell us what the difference is between self care and soul care.
So, what I found is that self care tends to be very surface level. It seems to be whitewashed, just very temporary, just feel good in the moment. But soul care is really about digging deeper. What is it that I really need? What is my soul saying that need right now so that way I can be replenished, I can be rejuvenated, and I can feel renewed? Sometimes when we engage in self care, let's say getting our nails done, maybe having our favorite glass of wine, it feels good in the moment. But after that moment is over, we're like, oh, but my soul is still disrupted, right? So what is it that I really need? So soul care is about going beyond surface level self-care to dig deeper, to replenish and nourish the soul for real healing and peace and freedom in life.
So where did we get the idea that things like, especially spending money, doing, getting our
Mhm.
hair done, getting our nails, where did we get the idea that that was really some care, right? Where did we get that idea?
I think the word and concept of self-care has
Uh-huh.
been around for a while. And I can't tell you when exactly it just kind of hit the scene, but I think
Hmm.
in general, we want to make sure that we're feeling good. Nobody wants to feel uncomfortable. Nobody wants to be in distress.
Hmm.
And I think generally speaking, we're always giving to something other than ourselves, whether
Hmm.
it's our children, our significant others, our work, our career, our social organizations, our church, our places of worship. We're always giving, giving, giving to other people. And if we think about it, we come back home and it's just like, oh, I'm so exhausted. And so, how have we poured back into self so we can have whatever it is that we need to continue to show up for all of these responsibilities that do require our time, energy, and attention?
I totally agree because again, when I think about the ways I thought necessarily was self care, like going to get a massage, I think it's the fact that somebody else was doing something for me instead of me doing something for them. And even though it costs money, we're like, okay, that's my self-care. But I really like this idea of soul care. So it must be something that you practice in your practice. So tell us how that manifests itself in your practice. What kinds of things are you doing with women to help them to really get that soul care?
When I ask them the things that you're doing, are they working? Because most people are like, no, I'm doing self-care. I'm doing self-care. Oh, okay. Is it working?
Yeah.
No. Okay. So you're doing things. There may be things that you're doing to, maybe celebrate yourself. These could be things that we're doing. Sometimes just hygienic maintenance. If I'm being honest, I get my nails done every 2 weeks like clockwork. But that's not soul care for me. That is just regular maintenance so my nails aren't looking raggedy.
Right.
But when I'm there, I'm multitasking. I'm on the phone. I'm looking at things, right? So that's not really the time where I can say, okay, this is relaxing for me. When I leave this salon, I feel better. This is just something to kind of check off the box of something that Kamilah, needs aesthetically, right? Surface level to look good and feel good in the moment, right? So I was like, oh, yes, my nails are cute. Feel good in the moment. But that isn't necessarily nourishing my soul. So part of the work is, what is it that you really need? Not what you want, not what you think you're supposed to have. But if we took away any barriers, any restrictions, any why can't because, what is it that you really need? So if we have to think about some of the differences between self-care and soul care, self-care looks like saying, I'm fine, I'm good. When someone says, how are you doing? Because that's self-care in survival mode.
Gotcha.
Soul care looks like really being honest and expressing your real emotions. Girl, I'm not doing well. I'm overwhelmed right now. It's about showing that level of vulnerability. So that way I can have that deeper soul connection for someone to be able to lean in, hear me, support me, which is what I really need. Not just to brush it off in the right surface level. No, I'm good. I'm fine.
So when we were having a conversation before, you mentioned that you were a recovering strong Black woman. So there must be a story here where you kind of found out the difference yourself between self-care and soul care. So do you mind sharing your story?
So my strong Black woman story started, and if you think about it, I think most of our stories start with trauma in some way, whether it's our direct trauma or it could be generational. And so for me, I would say that it was generational in the sense that my dad intentionally raised me to be a very strong, independent woman. So that way I could have options because he saw his mother, who had a 5th, 6th grade education, have a lot of limitations in life that put her in certain situations that she didn't want to be in because of lack of resources, education, and things of that sort. So he raised us to make sure that you can do whatever it is that you want to do in life. You don't have to be dependent on anyone. Not that you don't need them, but I don't want you to ever have to, for instance, be in a relationship, stay in an abusive relationship, an unhealthy, unhappy relationship with a man because you don't have any options to be able to leave and be self-sufficient. So I say it came from generational trauma, his trauma, right, of seeing his own mother and saying, that's not what I want for my daughters.
Gotcha.
And so it has presented itself on the surface as being high achieving, being very successful, being that go-to one. I never have to worry about her. She's the strong friend. But sometimes it has developed into some maladaptive things where it can show up as difficulty asking and receiving help. Right? Feeling the need. Nope, I'm good. I'm strong. I'll give to everyone else and I'll get to me later, right? Because I know how to take care of me. Other people need something more than what it is that I've decided that I've needed for myself. Or just sometimes being uncomfortable about expressing emotions. And that could be from different messages that were passed down. We're talking about Black women, how it's perceived sometimes when we express our emotions. And so learning, you know what, maybe I got to keep it together. Maybe I have to be strong because expressing my emotions isn't really well received. And so I would say particularly the last 2 years really kind of stretched me personally, where I had to really kind of face some of these strong Black women narrative challenges. And I was trying everything, right? I'm a therapist. I said, well, Kamilah, what would you tell a client? So I'm doing all of the things. I'm going to yoga. I'm doing my monthly Reiki sessions, my monthly massages. I'm working out. I'm reading. I'm literally grounding, sitting in the backyard. But I'm doing all of the things. But something was still like, nah, girl, but there's still something. And it just felt like it literally was something deep down. I'm doing everything that I know how to do, but it is still not getting to what it is that I need. And for me, it came from a full surrendering, a full spiritual surrendering of a lot of different things. And so that was that soul care work that I needed to do. I could go to therapy, I could do all of those things, but it was a spiritual surrendering for me.
You can probably recognize when a woman needs that soul care. When she walks into your office or makes that first appointment, you automatically know that she has been searching in the wrong places, in a sense, to find that balance, or even that being able to be her authentic self. And so tell me a little bit about some of the things that your clients usually come in with. It might be mask, it's something else. Just kind of tell me what your clients are coming in with.
Yep. On the surface, high achieving, typically college educated, in leadership positions, the go-to person in their friend, family group, pretty high achieving, successful. But what the challenges are, one of the biggest thing I hear is the constant fatigue. I'm just tired. They could sleep the entire weekend, but it's that deeper level of exhaustion. That's the number one thing that they actually say. I'm just overwhelmed. I feel like I'm giving to everybody and I don't have anything left for myself. When they literally say, I don't trust people. I have friends, but I don't open up to them, but I'm there for them, right? So it's the giving, but not being able to receive. Almost like this resentment for some of the responsibilities that they have, whether they've been overcommitted because there's difficulty saying no. And there's this subconscious belief that their worth and value comes from how much they do and how many people they help. And so we're going to constantly always be doing something, right? Because that's where worth and value comes from. So I would say those are probably about the top 5 things: the constant fatigue and exhaustion, unbalanced relationships, and a lot of times feeling resentful, being overcommitted, totally neglecting self. There's a lot of physical issues, different pains that they're having in their body that they have just ignored for quite some time, but is literally telling, because we know that the body keeps the score. And whatever it is that we do not express, our body will hold on to and absorb and cause disease, right? Because we're at dis-ease in our bodies.
So you probably hear a whole lot of, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Wow.
And not really knowing what to do, and feeling like I want to express these emotions, but I literally can't, or I'm afraid what will happen if I do.
Wow. Wow. So we are going to take a quick station break, and then we're going to come back and talk about how Black women in particular can navigate the balance between taking care of themselves and their responsibilities to others without sacrificing their soul care. So we're going to come back and talk about that. All right, so stay tuned.
Are you a coach? Or maybe you're a counselor? Maybe you are a therapist or a wellness coach. Are you a leadership or life coach? A pastor or pastoral counselor? Are you helping others to achieve their goals? That means you are a professional. But what if you could become an expert? Establish your authority beyond your degree, certification, or license, and extend yourself beyond your one-on-one sessions. Create high-quality learning materials. Build your brand. Create high-quality learning materials such as ebooks. Learning when your clients need it, 24/7. increase your revenue. Empower your clients, save time, promote accountability among your clients. Welcome to Pearls Perfected Institute, where we are transforming mental health and wellness professionals into experts with that user-friendly technology that keeps clients learning long after the session, the home of the Client Learning Portal. Easy to use, course building technology, learning management systems for entrepreneurs. Most of all, stress-free tech. Now that's something to celebrate. Hi, I'm Dr. Janice R. Love, the founder and CEO of Pearls Perfected Institute. I invite you to learn more about having your very own client learning portal by visiting us at pearlsperfectedinstitute.com. Thank you.
All right, so we are back. Okay, so we're going to talk about how, in particular, that Black women can navigate that balance between taking care of themselves and all the responsibilities they have without sacrificing their soul care. So let's talk about that.
Absolutely. I would say one of the first things to do is to make sure that we set boundaries.
And that's good. Say that again. Say that again.
Set boundaries.
Okay. All right.
Set boundaries.
Thank
and boundaries
you.
with self and also boundaries with others. I think most of the time when we think about boundaries, it's saying no to other people, but sometimes that no needs to be for self. One of the things with the women that I work with is that they're hyper independent and overcommitted because there's way too much on our plate. We are saying yes to so many things. And sometimes people no longer respect our yes because we're just so freely giving it away. And so the yes now becomes expected. So when we say no, or I can't do that, or now it's not a right time, now they're looking at us because our yes has become so automatic. But being able to say no, to say, you know what, I could do this. I may want to do this, but is this in my best interest? Is this going to push me over the edge where I'm now burning the candle at both ends? Because being stressed out, being anxious, depressed, but we're doing the thing, it's not really cute. It's not really cute. So I would say one, boundaries with self and other people.
Okay, I love that.
The second way would be to focus on excellence versus perfection. So one of the
writing all these nuggets down. I'm writing these nuggets down in the chat so that they can make sure they get it. Focus on excellence. Tell us about that.
So one of the things that happens when I'm working with strong Black women is that there's a need for perfection. Sometimes people can recognize it as perfection. Other times it just shows up in other ways where, well, nobody can do it as good as I can do it. Or I'm just so afraid they're going to mess it up. I'll just keep doing everything. We're having a hard time delegating. We're trying to do everything. It has to be done our way. Perfection. And so if we focus on excellence, excellence is just about the effort. Excellence is
Wait. Let's break that down. Break that down. You said it's excellence is not perfection. It is what?
Effort.
Getting it done. Effort. I love it. Okay, keep going, girl. You got me excited with all these things. Okay, go ahead.
So excellence is also accepting of mistakes. Perfection says mistakes are not allowed. So if I mess up, right, I'm going to be more self-critical because I'm expecting myself to be perfect. Even when I'm doing something that I've never done before, there's still these unrealistic and high expectations that we're going to get it right all of the time. And that if I've made a mistake, that now something is wrong with me. Versus if I focus on excellence, did I show up as my best self today? For this speaking engagement, for this project, for this client, in this relationship at work, did I show up as my best? And I gave all that I had. The thing is that sometimes our all may be 50%. Sometimes we keep thinking that we're going to show up 100%. I remember during COVID, I had a client who had breast cancer and still was like, nope, I still got to show up at 100%. Your 100% today might actually be 50%. That's all that you have to give. And so if I can focus on effort and understand that mistakes are just part of the process and are learning opportunities versus personal failures and flaws, Can I be kinder to myself as I'm moving through life where it's easier for me to go with the flow versus being a lot more rigid and self-critical and needing for everything to be done right, correctly, all of the time. That typically causes stress for self and other people.
Yes, perfectionism is definitely a symptom of attempting to be or calling yourself the strong Black woman, when again, it's usually causing us more challenges than it is actually helping us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And then I would say maybe a third top way would be to focus on self-compassion versus self-criticism, right? So silencing that inner critic. The world is hard enough and we deal with enough that is beating us down, beating us up. And so how can we call ourselves up? By being kinder to ourselves. So the same words of encouragement, of compassion. Girl, it's okay. You did your best. Let's think about it this other way. We deserve to hear that ourselves. But sometimes the way that we talk to ourselves is so nasty, it's so rude, it's mean. And we likely would dare not even allow anyone else to say those same words to us. But these are things, our own internal dialogue that we're saying that puts, unnecessary pressure, and just unrealistic expectations. So being able to shift from self-criticism to self-compassion.
I hope we are listening to this, because it is so easy to criticize yourself. I think I put out a Facebook post or something last night to tell that girl in the mirror to shut up, because she can constantly demean us. She can constantly say things that aren't true, even make up stuff about us to drive us down and get us to a point where we're still trying to strive for that perfectionism. And you're right, we wouldn't let anybody talk to us like that, but we do it to ourselves, and we wouldn't dare say those kinds of things to any of our friends as well. So girl, you are preaching. Tell us about some of the things that you are doing with women. You have some coaching programs, right? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing from a coaching perspective.
So I have been a licensed therapist, licensed clinical social worker for the last 15 years, and recently wanting to continue to expand my reach, the ways that I'm able to work with women and the services that I provide. So I recently had a birthday last Sunday, a week from today. And so that was a relaunch, me giving birth to Soul Care, which is my new wellness brand for Black women. And so I have a couple fun things. 3 of the things that I mentioned earlier were 3 of the 7 tips that I shared to help women shift from surviving to thriving. So if anyone is interested in learning the other 4 tips, I know Dr. Love will drop the link so you can have those. The other thing that I have coming up starting October the 2nd is my Unmasked Her group coaching program that I'm super, super excited about. This is going to be 6 weeks, starting October the 2nd through November the 6th. And for VIP, actually get to come back for an extra week on November the 13th. And we're going to do some super dope exclusive things there. So those are 2 things that I have going on right now. My 7 tips to shifting from surviving to thriving, and the upcoming Unmasked Her group coaching program that starts on October the 2nd.
Okay, so I have put in the chat area the link to the 7 tips for thriving and surviving. And I will also drop in there the information for her Unmask Her. So I love that topic. How did that come about?
Because I think sometimes it's a mask. We are covering up something else more vulnerable, our true selves, and not necessarily in a way where we're trying to front, where we're trying to put on a facade, but it is covering up something. And so again, as we're trying to shift from survive, we know how to survive. We know how to do that. But what I'm hearing, what I have experienced is about what does thriving look like? And so sometimes we got to take the mask off. We got to get real. We got to dig deep, right? No more surface level Band-Aid temporary approaches to really deal with what the real is. So how do we take you from where you are now to where it is that you want to be? Because we deserve it. We deserve to live happy, to live free, to be healthy. And one of the reasons why I did a group coaching program is because I think a lot of us we're always trying to figure things out by ourselves. We're suffering in silence, right? Everybody else can get the help, but we're over here in private. And so it's like, we're not doing that anymore. How do we heal? How do we connect in community? And that also just takes us back to our natural ancestral roots. It's about community.
So there are, especially some women who I talk to, they feel some kind of way about getting counseling, but they are definitely more open to coaching. So are you seeing that shift in your business as well?
I think it depends. I see both. So I still have my mental health group practice, KBT Counseling Consulting, where we do provide one-on-one therapy. So I'm still seeing a small handful of clients on a personal referral basis. And then I have two other clinicians there. One of the reasons why I also, not necessarily shifting, but adding coaching is because what I found is that sometimes we don't fit into a box. We don't fit into the medical box, the insurance box. Yes, there may be symptoms of depression or anxiety, but it doesn't mean that someone has fully met the full criteria to actually now have to give your diagnosis that I submit to the insurance company that now becomes a part of your medical record. The other part is that people may come to me for that, but we've done great work. Those symptoms have gone away. And so the major depressive disorder is no longer existing, but they still find value in our conversations. But is that still therapy? Yes, no, depending on who you ask. Or are we now at a point of coaching, right? We've done the uncovering, you've healed from the trauma. And so now is how do we kind of take you forward with actually implementing some of these lifelong skills? The other thing is that stigma when it comes to mental health and therapy is still real. So there is some people believe that when you say therapy, you're talking about a problem, right? Something is wrong with you. Versus if people hear coaching, it's about elevation. It's about personal or professional development and improvement. And so it can sound different. It can give a different vibe based on who the person is. So at the end of the day, I think we have to meet people where they are and what help looks like for them in a way that they're going to receive it.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how we can help people to really understand about this soul care. What can churches do? What can ministries do to really help people to understand this need for soul care?
Well, some may say that churches already are doing that work. What I would say is that it may need to add a mental health and wellness component to that. Yes, it's about the soul, and sometimes there is a mental health diagnosis, a chemical imbalance that is happening. And so when I'm talking about wellness, I'm not just talking about coaching. I'm not just talking about therapy. I am talking about wellness in all areas of life. So physical, emotional, occupational, social, financial, taking care of the whole person. And so that's one of the things that we do in soul care in that brand is really who is that whole woman.
Definitely. Do you ever speak with churches in part of your speaking?
I have in the past. It's been a while, but I have.
Well, definitely, we're going to put your information out there so that if there are any churches who really want to hear more about this, you're the girl. So let's see, we have your website information. Let's put that up here so that individuals can visit your website. So can you tell us what your website is there?
Yes, my direct website is www.KamilahThomas.com. That's KamilahThomas. You can definitely learn more about me, my story, the different services that I have to offer. You'll also be able to download a free copy of the 7 tips of shifting from surviving to thriving. And for anyone who is interested in that upcoming group coaching program, Unmask Her, you can also find additional information there.
Yes. And so there are other places they can find you, like Instagram. Where else are you found at?
Yes, Instagram is probably where I'm the most active. So this month, with September, you definitely want to turn on those notifications. You definitely want to make sure that you are following me, because we have some new content that is coming out that I'm excited about. And I can also be found on LinkedIn as well. So my corporate wellness program that I have, where I do different talks and workshops for nonprofit organizations and corporate clients, other speaking engagements, it's all on LinkedIn.
So it's amazing. I found you on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's because the what you're offering, you're mainly dealing with professional women who,
Yep.
again, who are have overextended themselves. They're in places where they really don't necessarily have people they can trust. They are striving to do great things, and so that's where a lot of women can be found. So definitely, this is going to be shared on LinkedIn. So definitely, if you are interested in any of the services she provides, then I would encourage you to check out her website or check out her
Yes.
page on LinkedIn, or again, even on Facebook. This is airing right now on Facebook, so individuals can get information about where they can find you. So, since this is asking for a sister friend, Kamilah,
Mm-hmm.
give us some encouragement for a woman who really has overextended herself, who is not giving who is calling herself practicing self-care by going to get massages, getting her hair done, getting her nails done, and maybe taking some vacations, but she still feels that she's empty almost, that she is overextended, she's tired. Give us some departing words for her.
You are the hero of your own story.
Mm, I like that.
So regardless of where you are in your chapter right now, in your story, and whatever it is that you're going through, it's a chapter. It's not the rest of the book. So decide what the hero in you needs for your life to end with a happily ever after. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to be it all. And it is okay to ask for help.
You put that so well. You put that so well. And again, I love what you are doing. I love that God has put you in the place to be such a blessing to women. Because again, this can lead to health challenges. And the last thing we want to do is cause self harm by
Mm-hmm.
trying to take care of everybody else and trying to be all that everybody else wants us to be, or trying to meet those models of, because oftentimes we're the first, we are in places where others are watching,
Mm-hmm.
and we can take it so far that it can actually cause us self-harm. So I love the fact that that you're attacking that head on. You I love how you don't cut any corners with looks. I love it. I can talk to you all along. And gosh, I wish I had known you so many years ago when I was trying to overextend myself, whether it's the things I was doing as a professional or even as a pastor's wife. I think
Mm-hmm.
that what you have shared today can really be a blessing to others. I love the be kind to yourself. I love the focus on self-compassion. All those things that you've shared, and I have put them out here in the comments so that people can find those nuggets. All right. So there's something that I always say when I am coming towards the end of meeting with the client. And I usually pull up the scripture, Proverbs 27:17 from the Good News Translation, which says that people learn from one another just as iron sharpens iron. And you definitely, Kamilah, have sharpened my iron and those who are listening tonight. So if you have watched this video and you want to share this with a woman that you know is struggling in this area of recognizing that she can practice soul care over self care, then we encourage you to share this video. So,
Absolutely.
even though I would love to be here for another 30 minutes, we got to start shutting it down. But, Kamilah, thank you. Thank you so much for being a guest on Asking for a Sister Friend. Again, because we are here sharing information about experts who are doing things to help to improve the health and wellness of particularly women. So thank you for sharing your expertise with us on tonight. And I look forward to hearing more about some of the things that you're doing. And one of these days, you'll probably have to come back for a second visit so we can just get
Absolutely.
a little more. And I want to know how this whole new movement of soul care is going. I want to hear more about that. So again, thank you.